This is my honest review of owning a Typhon Grom for 6 months. This is my first RC car ever. So I bought a lot of things I didn't need, and there's some things that I did need for this car, but I didn't know I needed. So I'm trying to help you guys out by just showing you what my process was. So for spare parts, I would always buy OEM and not the cheap aftermarket stuff. For spare parts, this arm set, I had slop in the front arms, and I bought a new arm set, and that took out the slop. The bearings, buying a bearing kit, not the cheap bearings, but the good ones, buying a bearing kit took out the slop in the front end. So I got new hubs, new bearings, and new arms, and the slop was gone, and things like brand new again. Spare set of dog bones. I did have some dog bones go bad. The only really cheap aftermarket part I liked that I bought was the center drive shaft, or the center brace for the suspension. So let me take you over here and show you all the parts that I bought. So these are all the parts that I bought, you know, getting into the hobby. And some things I really shouldn't have bought. Like I bought these. I could probably still return them. But what happened was these bearings, granted these are the cheap bearings, they would not fit. They would not snap in there for a tight fit. Look, they just fall right out. That's not good. You want the outer edge of the bearing to sit tightly in the holder. That way it doesn't spin inside. Only the inner part of the bearing spins. So those are no good. You know what I mean? That was a waste. I bought these shocks. I thought they would look cool. I thought they'd be an upgrade. 3 out of 4 shocks broke. Look at that. Boom. Only one survived, right? So I went back to my OEM shocks. I went back to fixing them. I bought these little bottom shock protectors. These things go, you know, they go down here to the bottom of the shock like that. Total waste of time. Those brought the screw out far away, weakening, you know, the connection to the arm. So that was a waste of time. So, here are my, these are my old hubs and arm sets. And I had a lot of play, and I didn't know why I had play in the front end. It was, even though these weren't broken, the ball in here gets worn, right? And it creates a lot of slop in the front end. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's like a lot of slop in that front end. So in order to get that slop out, the only thing you need that you can do is get new hubs, new arms, and new bearings, right? Also, what I found was the hinge pins. I never took these hinge pins out for like 2 months. I never did. And what happened is they got rusty, and then the arms would get stuck. They wouldn't travel freely up and down. So I had to get a new hinge pin set. I actually got some spares. But you can also clean these up with some steel wool or some green scrubby pad. Like, I was trying to do that for a while. Take a green scrubby and putting it in there and, you know, folding it over and just kind of rubbing it. But it didn't do as good as a nice new, you know, set. So, yeah, a lot of these parts I didn't need. And a lot of parts I do need. Like servo. What happened with the servo was I ended up buying a servo. My car would always stick to the left. So the steering would always stick, no, to the right. And I would change the servo saver, and it would keep going to the right, keep going to the right. So I bought an aftermarket servo, and the thing broke after like a month. So then I called up Horizon, I sent them an email, and I warrantied the servo, and they sent me an OEM servo. I sent them a quick little video, and there you go, boom, new servo. So that worked out well. So here's what I do every, you know, month or two, is I take the center drive shaft out, and I take the bearings off, and I put the bearings on the paper towel with a little bit of oil, and I just work them in by hand. So just to give you a little explanation, this is a clean bearing, but I already put them all back together. But I'll take the bearing and I put a little oil on it, and then I'll just rub it into the paper towel and clean the bearings. This might be overkill, but I love my Typhon and I want it to be nice. So I take the center drive shaft out, I take all the bearings off. I had one of these little O-rings just break on me. Here it is right here. this little broken O-ring. So I ended up trying to find one at the hardware store to fit right there. Hopefully that'll work until, you know, an OEM part arrives. I take some rubbing alcohol and I dump it all in that channel. I take some Q-tips and I clean them all out so the bearings, so that's, you know, and then I hit it with the compressed air. I'm lucky to have that. But that's how I get it really nice and clean and try to keep the bearings good, because, you know, the bearings are very important. What happened to me was one of the bearings got bad on the drive shaft and the input gear got smoked. It trashed the end of the input gear. So fortunately, I went out and got some bearings. And what did I do? I bought the cheap bearings. These are the bearings I bought right here. And they're already failing. So I got some Arma bearings. Yeah, I got these ones right here. And they didn't last very long. And what? So the OEM bearings are just a couple dollars more. You know what I mean? Might as well just get the OEM bearings. So yeah, that's I just wanted to share with the community. There's the bad input gear. My experience, just because I really love this hobby. You know, I've taken to it. And my friend's 5-year-old son got me into it. So it's important to me to share with the community my experience. Here's some little tips and tricks that I came up with for my Typhon. I put this soft part of the Velcro on top. So when she rolls, you know, it skids on the roof. That's worked out great. That's 5 months old, believe it or not, that Velcro. So that's worked out good. Yeah. So just wanted to show you guys what I've been up to. And I got this really cool mat, which I really like to work on it. But yeah, that's been my experience with the Typhon Grom. Hope everyone had a happy new year. All right.